Vampires and werewolves, just a bedtime story? Huh, cute. That's what people say right before something looks back at them in the dark. Sit down. Keep your eyes open. And whatever you do, don't assume you're alone. Look, I get it. You've heard it since you were little. Bloodsuckers, moon-mad beasts, villagers with pitchforks, old stories. But what if I told you pieces of those stories were documented, not just whispered? What if behind every myth was a real person, a real grave, a real court case, and sometimes a real monster? Tonight, you and I are walking through forests and archives, through Balkan villages and London cemeteries, and every few steps, I'm going to ask you, are you sure you're safe? Are you sure you're alone? Yeah, let's see how confident you are by the end. When the dead don't stay dead. Our first stop, Serbia, 1725. A man named Petr Blagojevic dies. Normal. Routine. 9 people die soon after, each claiming Petr visited them at night and strangled them. Neighbors freak out, dig him up, stake him, and burn him. And here's the delicious detail. An Austrian official, Ernst from Bald, documented the whole thing. Not a priest. Not a gossip. A government representative. He watched the body get staked and wrote it down like it was Tuesday. Tell me, does a bedtime story get paperwork? If someone you buried last week came back to your house tonight, would you open the door? Didn't think so. The army versus the undead. Another Serbian case, Arnold Poale, 1730s. He dies, then villagers swear he returns to feed on them. Austrian military surgeons, actual doctors, open graves and report bodies showing fresh signs. New nails, undecayed skin, blood near the mouth. Modern science says that's decomposition. Villagers said, vampire. Which explanation would you believe at 3 a.m., alone in the dark, while your neighbors drop dead one by one? Yeah, thought so. The graves that bite back. Let's visit 17th century Poland. Archaeologists have found multiple anti-vampire burials. Sickles across the neck, padlocks on the feet, heads separated, stones pinned across bodies. One girl, now called 𝑾𝒆𝒍𝒄𝒐𝒆𝒆, was buried with a sickle around her throat and a lock on her toe. Why? Her community believed she would rise again. No fangs, no cape, just fear. And yes, the Smithsonian covered these discoveries. Would your neighbors bury you like that? If they truly thought you were gone? Or did they think you were only resting? Real courts, real wolves, real panic. You want werewolves? Fine. Let's talk about Peter Stump, Germany, 1589. Authorities arrest him, accuse him of transforming into a wolf. Under torture, he confesses to everything: murder, cannibalism, the works. They execute him. The trial records still exist. Now, maybe he was innocent. Maybe he was guilty. But tell me, why invent a story so specific that whole towns panic, courts intervene, and churches take notes? People don't burn time and money on bedtime stories. The werewolf who went to hell for you. My favorite story is Thies of Kaltenbrunn, Livonia, 1692. Old man. Dragged to court, you're a werewolf. He doesn't deny it. He says, yeah, we go to hell. We fight the devil 3 times a year so crops don't fail. He calls himself a hound of God. A holy werewolf. Not a curse. A job. Imagine this dude in court just confessing like, oh yeah, your honor, I break into hell twice a season to beat up demons. Tell me that's not metal. If someone you know told you they had a night shift in hell, would you laugh? Or would you quietly stop hanging out after dark? Where the line blurs, monsters in one body. Movies tell us vampires plus werewolves are mortal enemies. Cute. Hollywood makes good posters. But old folklore? Oh, it's messier. In Greek and Balkan tradition, the 𝑾𝒆𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂 is undead, sometimes described like a vampire, sometimes like a werewolf, sometimes both. One version says, a werewolf corpse becomes a vampire after death. Chew on that. Romanian lore gives us the 𝑃𝒆𝒏𝒆𝒂𝒕𝒉, werewolf in life, vampire after death. 2 monsters, 1 origin. That's not rivalry. That's evolution. Makes you wonder. When you hear wolves howling at night, who's doing the howling? A beast. Or someone who will come back twice. The baby question. Let's get weird. Can vampires have children? Traditional folklore leans strongly toward no. They're dead. No heartbeat, no heat, no life. No kids. If they want you, they turn you, not raise you. But Balkan folklore left a loophole. A damper, child of a male vampire and a human woman. Rare, whispered, but present. Note, 2 full vampires having a baby? Nope. That's modern fiction. So if someone ever tells you they're a vampire by birth, you have permission to raise an eyebrow. Or 2. Just carefully. Science takes a shot. Science tries to calm us down with terms like porphyria, rabies, sleep paralysis. These conditions can cause fear of light, aggression, biting, hallucination. So science looks at ancient stories and says, relax, it's just disease. Sure, and maybe it is. But porphyria doesn't explain anti-vampire burials. Rabies doesn't explain centuries of wolf/human hybrid lore. And sleep paralysis doesn't explain military exhumations. Science explains symptoms. It doesn't explain why entire cultures built rituals around them. Let me ask you, if your best friend started acting strange under moonlight, would your first thought be, ah yes, porphyria? Or, I'm locking the window tonight? Yeah, thought so. The Highgate Hunt, 1970s London. This isn't ancient history only. In the 1970s, London goes full horror movie. A tall, dark figure is seen at Highgate Cemetery. Newspapers run interviews. People jump fences at night to hunt a vampire. 2 occultists basically start a rivalry. TV cameras show up. It's chaos. No proof of a vampire biting anyone. But the panic? Very real. Even modern minds crack under mystery. Even now, we chase shadows. Ask yourself, if someone whispered vampire outside your window tonight, would you check? Or would you freeze and pretend you didn't hear? Monsters as mirrors. Want to know why these myths survive? Because they reflect fears we don't like admitting. The vampire. Controlled hunger. A predator wearing manners. The werewolf. Uncontrolled rage. The beast we pretend isn't inside us. 2 monsters. Same origin. What we fear we might become. In some places, they were never separate. They were one story told 2 ways. One curse. 2 phases. So when someone says the legends are dead, smile and tell them. They just changed shape. Final thoughts. So tell me again. Fairy tale? Just a bedtime story? Villages changed how they buried their dead. Courts prosecuted wolves. Doctors wrote vampire reports. Even modern London grabbed stakes and flashlights. Either humanity has a wild imagination, or something walked beside us long enough that we learned to whisper its name instead of scream it. And personally, I don't think stories live this long, unless something keeps feeding them. So when the night is quiet, and you feel watched, don't panic. Maybe it's nothing, or maybe they're still among us. Subscribe to Myths of the Blood Moon. We're just getting started.